we have fixed the issue, okay, regarding the positions of the control points. So let's say this line over here, if I move it somewhere else, let's say over here, and I double click on this, the control points are added at the correct positions. All right. So now what we want to do is, let's say if I move this control point, I want this control point or rather, I want the end of this line to follow this control point. Okay. And before we do that, okay, there's just a few minor things that I want to adjust. All right. And as you can see, this border box over here. Since we have these two control points to change the length and the angle of the line, all right, we actually do not need all these controls on this border box. Okay, so let's do that. All right. And where we can do that would be when we first start adding the line. So in this function over here, start adding line. And this is the mouse down event. All right, start adding line. So when we add the line, okay, not only we make it unselectable, we say has controls, we make it false. All right, so now it doesn't have any controls. Let's check it out. So when I add the line, and as you can see, there are no more controls. Okay, but it does not matter because we have these two control points. All right. And there's one more thing that I actually added. Okay. It is when I double click. Okay. When I double click on the line, I would add the control points after I double click on the line. And these two are the control points over here. All right. And I added this line of code. Okay, so canvas.discard active object. All right, now if I don't have this, all right, when I add the line, I select this and I double click on this. As you can see, the line is still active. Okay, and this might cause a problem because when I want to select the control point, I might accidentally excuse me, I might accidentally select the line instead. All right, so I discard this active line object. Okay, so let's try this again. I select the line and I double click, and as you can see, the line, all right, is no more active, and I can easily select the control points. All right, now another thing that I want to modify is the borders of these control points and the controls on the border box. All right, we do not need this. Okay, so what we can do is for pointer 1, we can add some more properties. So we can say has borders, we make it false. All right, and has controls, it's false as well. Okay, so just copy this, paste it down over here. All right, and let's see. Okay, so I select this line, I double click. Okay, and I move this. As you can see, now we do not have a border and we do not have the controls anymore. Okay, so let's do some coding, okay, to make sure, all right, that this end of the line follows the control point. All right, so how do we do that? Okay, well, the event to fire, okay, would be the object moving event. Okay, so I'm actually moving this control point. All right, and when I move this control point, all right, I want the end of this line to follow. So what we can do is to add an event straight after we add these 2 points. All right, so we can write it down over here. So canvas.on, so this would be an object moving event. All right, and let's name the function to be end point of line to follow pointer. Okay, end point of line to follow pointer. So let's define this function. Okay, so since it's a object moving, all right, we can add a parameter over here. We can pass this parameter through this function, and in order to get the object, we say let object equals to o dot target. So what is the object that we want to move? Well, it will be these two pointers, pointer 1 and pointer 2. Now, how do we identify that it is pointer 1 or pointer 2? Well, what we can do is to add an ID for each of them. All right, so when we add these two pointers, they must have an ID. So let's say for pointer 1, the ID would be just pointer 1. All right, and for pointer 2, the ID would be pointer 2. Okay, so we can say if object dot ID is equals to, so let's say for this would be pointer 1. All right, so when we move this pointer 1, what do we want to do? Well, we want the x1 and the y1 coordinates of the line to follow the coordinates of this pointer 1. All right, so we have to get the line object, and how we do that is we have to type canvas.getObjects. Okay, get all the objects first. All right, and for each of them, all right, O would be referring to the object. So from here, if O.id is equals to added line. All right, now we have gotten the object, okay, the line itself. All right, so we have to modify, or rather we have to update the x1 and the y1 coordinates since we are moving this pointer 1. And what we can do is to say we set, okay, o.set x1 coordinates. So s1 coordinate must follow the left position of this pointer 1. So it would be object.left, and obj, okay, object refers to pointer 1. All right, so do not confuse this object with this O. All right, this O refers to the added line. Okay, so S1 follows the left position of the pointer 1, and Y1 follows the top position of the pointer 1. Okay, so we have all of this over here. And another thing that we have to do is to set the coordinates of the line. Okay, so O.set coords. Okay, so that we can tell Fabric where the object is really on the canvas. All right, so we can actually visually see it, but because Fabric doesn't update its x1 and y1 coordinates, okay, so we actually have to set the coordinates of this added line. All right, so let's just do for pointer 1 first and see what happens over here. So I add a line. So these are the two pointers. Okay, so this is pointer 1, this is pointer 2. Pointer 1 is the starting position, pointer 2 is the end position. All right, so let's select the pointer 1 over here. And as you can see, all right, the line follows the pointer 1. Okay, and pointer 2 stays fixed. All right, so we can do the same for pointer 2 as well. So you just copy this. So else if, all right, so it's either pointer 1 or pointer 2 over here, okay, and that's why I have this else if, all right. So this should be x2 and this should be y2, okay, and we set the coordinates. Now we should be able to move both pointers and the line would just follow them. So let's say for pointer 2, okay, as you can see, it follows, all right, pointer 2, and we can rotate, shorten, and lengthen the line. So same thing for pointer 1. We can rotate, okay, shorten, and so on, all right. But there is actually a problem, okay, so let me remove this. Let's say if I move the line, okay, I move the line over here, I double click, so the pointers are added correctly, okay, the control points. But now let's say if I move pointer 1, as you can see, the other end of the line actually stays fixed on the original x2 and y2 coordinates, okay, because the x2 and y2 coordinates are not updated. All right, so we actually have to update the starting point and the ending point of the line. And where do we do that? All right, it would be over here, update new line coordinates, okay. So when we update the new line coordinates, all right, the x1, y1, x2, and y2 new coordinates are these values over here. So an object is the line, okay, the added line, all right. So what we can do is we can say object.set, okay, and over here we can just copy this down, all right. So S1, Y1, S2, Y2, they are all updated. And another thing, we have to set the coordinates, object.set coords, all right. It's because, again, Fabric, okay, doesn't know where the values are, okay, where the line is, all right. So we actually have to manually set the coordinates, okay. So let's see whether we still encounter that issue. All right, I moved the line over here, okay, I have these two control points. So the issue was, let's say if I move pointer 1, the end point over here, okay, would actually be fixed at the original position, all right. But hopefully this does not occur. So I move the pointer 1, and as you can see, okay, the end point is at its new position, okay, or rather is at its current position, okay, not old position, all right. So I move pointer 2, okay, so same thing, all right. So this looks good, okay. Now one more thing that we have to do is to remove these two pointers once we are done, okay, and there are two events that we can use. One of the event would be we just click outside and the two pointers would be removed. And another event would be we click on the line itself and these two pointers would be removed. All right. So I will be talking about this in the next video. All right. Okay. So see you soon.